Hello, fellow food lovers. Today I will be making Chinese rice and soup. You would need 2 cups of cooked rice, 3 cups of chicken stock, 5 dried scallop, 5 dried oyster, 1 tablespoon of dried goji berry, 1 large stem of bok choy, and salt. Okay, so I got the big bok choy here. I just need 1 large stem. Usually when you buy big bok choy, the outside leaves are quite large, but right now I just have the inside pieces. So they're a little smaller, so I'm probably going to use 2 of those stems, 2 to 3 of those inside stems. But if you're using the outside, you just need 1 if it's the large piece. So I'm going to cut into really nice thin slices. You don't want to cut into big pieces because it'll kind of overwhelm the soup. Okay, so I got 2 cups of rice there. You can use fresh rice or you can use day-old rice, anything's fine. And I need 3 cups of chicken broth. So I got 2 cans of chicken broth. It's about 3 cups worth. And I have 5 dried scallops and 5 dried oysters. And I've been soaking overnight in water. You need to reconstitute them before you use them. So this is what dried scallops look like. So you take 5 of those and you put it in water. And this is what it looks like after it's soaked overnight. And these here are dried oysters. So the dried scallop and dried oyster, you can buy those at any Asian or Chinese grocery store. So that's what it looks like after it's reconstituted. So I'm going to drain the water. You can actually save the water if you want and use it for the soup. So those 5 scallops, I'm just going to break them into little pieces. They actually fall apart quite easily. And so the scallops and oysters will give the soup a nice seafoody taste. Okay, so the 5 oysters, I'm going to cut them into little pieces. So each oyster could probably slice into 5 or 6 pieces. And I got a tablespoon of goji berry that had been soaking in water overnight. So you can drain the water. So they're usually dried and they look like little raisins. So you take a tablespoon of it and you just put it in a bowl and fill it with water and let it sit overnight. You could dried goji berry directly into the soup, but it may be a little bit hard once the soup is done. Okay, so let's get cooking. So I'm going to add the 2 cans of chicken broth into a hot wok. It's on high heat. You can also use your own homemade soup, or you can use the Tetra Paks that are commonly available in grocery stores too. But I prefer chicken stock for this dish. Okay, so I'm going to add the goji berries without the water. I'm going to add the dried scallops and the dried oysters. So I'm going to season. I'm going to give it a pinch of salt. But keep in mind that your chicken broth may already be salted. And if you're on a low sodium diet, you can skip the salt. You can even buy broth that has no salt added as well. You'll get a bit of salt from the dried oysters and the dried scallops. Okay, so I brought it to a boil. So you probably want to boil this for 20 to 30 minutes just to get the full flavor of the oysters and scallops into the soup. When the soup comes down after boiling, you can add more water to raise up again. Okay, so 20-30 minutes of boiling should be good for this soup. Okay, so we're at the end. So I'm going to add the chopped up bok choy. So it won't take very long for the bok choy to cook. Maybe 2-3 minutes and it'll be done. Okay, we're going to add the rice now. So this is cooked rice, 2 cups worth. You want to bring that to a boil and boil it for a couple of minutes and then it's ready to serve. So this dish, it's not really a restaurant dish, it's more like a home dish. Usually Cantonese people, and maybe even Chinese people in general, when they have their family meals, they'll generally, especially for supper, for the evening meal, they'll have soup almost always, and definitely rice. And then they'll have kind of an assortment of dishes in the center of the table for a family-style meal. So a lot of Chinese people will kind of heat up some soup and add some rice if they have like leftover soup and rice in the fridge. And that'd be like a snack or maybe breakfast or maybe even lunch. A lot of times I've heated up some soup and add some rice from the previous night and made it into breakfast. But I've noticed that when I lived in Vancouver, a lot of the high-end restaurants and even other Chinese restaurants will have this on the menu, rice and soup. And they'll have like high-end ingredients like dried scallops and dried oysters. And so they'll serve the soup with rice in it. And it wasn't cheap either, maybe $15, $16 Canadian for a bowl of it. And it's very easy to make at home, and even if you're using dried scallops and oysters, it's still affordable if it's done at home. Okay, bon appetit!